Carl here from Games, Brains and a Head-Banging Life, gbhbl.com. I'm here with Lizzy Borden, the legendary vocalist of heavy metal band Lizzy Borden, a greatest hits collection entitled Best of Lizzy Borden Volume 2. For those wondering where Volume 1 is, if you're young enough, you need to head back to the 90s and you'll find it there. Lizzy, thank you for taking the time to speak with me. It's a pleasure. How's your day been?
Oh, great. Here in beautiful Las Vegas.
And throughout 2020, obviously, it's been a difficult year. How have you been holding up?
Yeah, I mean, I have my recording studio in my house, so I'm pretty much would be doing what I'm doing no matter what was happening outside. So it could be a complete apocalypse and I'd still be in here recording. So, so it has nothing's changed that drastically for me. But yeah, I mean, it's been crazy.
Oh, wow. So you are very much in a very self-contained world then.
Yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I just in order to make these kind of records, I just have to isolate myself off and just try to write songs that I like. And it's not always easy. For every 15, I'll get one that I like.
That's wicked output by the sound of it. 1 out of 15.
Yeah, but it takes. I have to actually finish all those before I realize I don't like them.
So you've been staying quite positive then.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got to make the best of the situation. It's the only thing you can do, really. If you try to, I don't know. He's got to play it out at this point.
Yeah.
Everyone thought, we would get to this point and then it would be over, and it's still not over. So, I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen now.
Yeah, you're pretty much in the same boat as we are in the UK. We're just waiting to see what happens next.
Yeah, it's very curious.
Oh, curious. Interesting word, yes. From the release of the Best of Lizzy Borden Volume 2, a compilation that focuses on the last 3 studio albums. How did you go about selecting the songs that would make up this release?
Yeah, well, what happened was, I came from the old school, so it's all been about albums and then cassettes and then CDs, and then in the streaming world happened. It took a long time for people to catch up, including me. And once I got into it, I really liked it. So, I went on one of the platforms to find out which was our biggest streaming album. And it turns out Best of Volume 1 is our biggest streaming album.
Oh,
and
wow.
that's probably, you could probably say that about every artist, when people find that artist, they just go right to the best of and say, what's your best songs? I want to hear. So that was my thought process. I said, our biggest streaming album is Best of Volume 1. So we haven't the last 3 albums were not on that. So figured let's do this for the let's make a Best of Volume 2, and surrounding around the last 3 albums. And so I figured, eventually I'm hoping, there's talk about this going on vinyl. So I didn't want to pick a slew of songs. So I picked 4 songs from each record, and then we did 2 covers. So finding those songs were really the songs that either they really generated something live when we played them, and everyone just loved them, or we did a video, or those are the songs I hear the feedback most of from fans. So it was pretty easy to pick the songs that got the most response over the last few years, on those 3 albums. So those are the ones that's what I went after. I didn't try to dig deep and find some obscure song that no one knows about. I really wanted to pick the 4 songs that represent those 3 records.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because it was either going to be, as you said, a deep dive, or put them all into a hat and pull them out at random.
Yeah, it was. I just went after the ones that people gravitated towards on those 3 albums.
Oh, that's cool. Were you pleased with the quality of the remastering overall? You had Tom Baker working on this, right?
Yeah, he did. He's done our last few things that we've done, and I'm really happy with the way he does, the way he masters. He actually remastered the first two albums, Love You to Pieces and Menace to Society. Both albums, suffered from bad mixes and this and that, and he brought those things to life. And I know a lot of people haven't heard them, but he did them in the '90s or early 2000s. I can't remember, but he revitalized those records. When you listen to the remasters, it's like, okay, that's closer to what we were thinking when we recorded those albums. There were very low budget albums. We had no money, no producer, no nothing. So we just went in and did it, and the mixes turned out the way they turned out. And so it is what it is. So when you get someone in there that can revive them without a total remix, was really good for us. So I loved what he did to those. And then he mastered all three albums, Deal with the Devil and Appointment with Death and My Midnight Thing. So he was very familiar with everything. He was remastering his own mastering.
That's amazing. As you said, features two covers. The first being a ripping cover of the Ramones' Pet Sematary. Where did the interest in covering that come from?
Well, last year we did a one-off show at the Whiskey in Hollywood. I played there a million times, but this was kind of a special show. It was, we were on the My Midnight Things tour, but this was just a one-off, and it was Halloween night. And I said I really wanted to do something special, and I only cover songs that really meant something to me when I was a kid. Yeah. And those, if you ever see any of the covers, I'm never doing anything that's just a song I don't really know. Every one of these songs that we cover are songs that had an effect on me. And so the Ramones had a big effect on me. We actually, Lizzy Borden started as a punk band. Our first demos and everything we did was all punk. But Ramones was my favorite punk band.
Okay.
And so Pet Sematary was it was an odd song for them, and that made it perfect for me, I think. So that's why I chose it. And it was Halloween night, and I wanted to do something special for the show at the Whiskey, because you never know how long the Whiskey's going to be around. So that every time you play, you think it might be the last. So I wanted to make it special. So we learned that one, and it wasn't easy because there's a lot of lyrics. it's like some weird story, which is again unlike the Ramones. But it was great, and we crammed it in and we got through it. But after that, I said, you know what, we did a good version of that. Let's record it, and that's how we started this.
Oh, that's amazing. And likewise, I think people would be quite surprised to see the other cover, Blue Oyster Cult's Burning for You. What about that track then?
Well, when we did This Ain't the Summer of Love in 2000 on the Deal with the Devil record, which was a Blue Oyster Cult song, but I wanted to do Burning for You, but I got outvoted by my producer at the time. And he said, no, you because we had done it live, for fun, and he heard it and he loved our version. So he said, but I said, I really want to do Burning for You. It would be perfect for the Deal with the Devil album. But I got outvoted, and I was fine with that. But it was a gnawing thing in the back. I'm like, I really want to do this song. And so when it came down to, we decided we wanted to do at least two covers on this best of, that I got my chance to do it, And then when we recorded it, sometimes I'll take a song and I'll make it my own. And sometimes I like to try to stay the way it is. And with Burning for You, I tried to make it my own at the beginning, and it felt sacrilegious. That song meant so much. It meant so much to me that I didn't want to reinvent it. It was perfect the way it was. So we really stuck to the script on it, and I think it turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with it. But yeah, I have versions of it where I sang it like a, full on, out of control, but it felt like sacrilegious. So I really wanted to stay in the ballpark. And that's the conclusions I came to as I was recording it, going, and the versions I did were interesting, but really the song's a perfect song, so don't mess with perfection.
No, I like your thinking. Ultimately a cover is a tribute to some degree, but you also kind of want to have your own spin in it, and inevitably it does sound exactly like Lizzy Borden, but obviously Blue Oyster Cult.
Yeah, a lot of people say that. I mean, it's just, I guess it's my voice, but whatever cover we song, everyone says, yeah, it sounds like a Lizzy Borden song. And, even we played Pet Sematary live a couple of more times after that. And people came up, that's just a great new song. Because, a lot of these people don't know the history, so they didn't know it was a Ramones cover. And they thought it was a Lizzy Borden song, So it's pretty interesting to, from my point of view, I'm singing, a classic song that meant a lot to me. But from their point of view, it sounds like a Lizzy Borden song. So I'm happy however people perceive these things.
Absolutely. They're hearing the music nonetheless. So 1983, you're looking at a near 40-year career in Lizzy Borden. Can you put your finger on just how you've managed to stay so relevant throughout the years?
I think it's because I don't want to keep recording the same album. I'm just one of the, I grew up on, David Bowie and all these people trying to constantly reinvent themselves. And that's where I come, it's where I come from. And I see a lot of heavy metal people stay in their comfort zone. And, I know that I could do that and retain my fan base. But, I know every time I take a chance, I'm going to lose part of my fan base.
Of course.
But it's worth it to me. So I kind of, and it also is fun for me, to record the same song over and over and over again. I just can't do it. And so I'm trying to constantly be a better songwriter and constantly grow in different directions. And so it's fun for me. And I think that is the thing that bleeds through, I'm not just going through the motions and just trying to just get through it. I'm, here's another album. I'm actually trying to be a better songwriter, so it's still new to me. It's still fun. And I'm still learning all the time.
Wow.
So that's why I've been able to keep doing this, because it's still fun for me, not to do the same old songs, but to constantly try to improve and and be a better songwriter.
Well, that's fantastic. And you already mentioned as well, like talking about learning and growing, how you've cottoned on to the streaming world and the instant gratification that audiences desire. How difficult was it for you to adapt to that?
I was hardcore against it for a long time. I just really couldn't. I'm from the old school, just having that physical, thing in my hand, and and the whole experience behind it. I loved it all. It was better than any movie. It was better than anything. And so letting go of that was weird. But I also went through all of this stuff, when albums, I walk in a record store and all the albums are gone.
Yeah.
And it was just CDs. So I had to adapt to that. And then it went off to, different things throughout. You never know what's going to happen. So the streaming world, it's not financially beneficial to everybody, but it is a way to get, once I signed up for one of the platforms, I went to all my favorite artists and downloaded all their records. But when I'm looking through, I'm going, oh my God, I didn't even know they did this. I didn't know they did that. I didn't know. And there's a slew of records I didn't know existed from my favorite artists. So it really made me go, okay, well, this is a benefit. So I get to hear these things I didn't know even existed. And so, there's so much things you can do with the streaming thing. I hope there's it becomes more interactive. I don't know if that's possible, but as far as me adapting to it, I finally came around.
Pushing against the tide otherwise. What about social media then, that side of things? How are you finding the adapting to that world?
I actually, it's just a workload for me. Actually, just the last few days, I've handed it off to the staff at Metal Blade. Cool. And they're just now taking the reins over it because it's just too time consuming, and I'm busy trying to write an album and working. So it becomes one of those things where I'm like, you know what, someone can do this a lot better than I can. I'm still going to chime in and do my thing, but I think someone else could keep fans up to date better than I can. So it's really I'm not an influencer. I'm not one of those people that are going to just constantly yap about my personal feelings. I wish I could, but I'm just not interested. So, but I still am on there. I'll pop on there every day, on all the platforms. But as far as me, I'm just like I said, I've handed it off to the label. I'm hoping that they will put all the content on there that people are missing that I'm not putting on there.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, right? You've got to get this comfortable balance of the desires of an extensive fan base and your own personal needs. Yeah.
It's one of those things where it's like, I know some people are very comfortable talking about their day, but I'm just not. I don't really have any interest. I think it's uninteresting. And, I know some people might like it, and I might do a day in the life one day, but to do it every day, I find it very uninteresting. I don't like reading other people doing that. So, and I cringe when I do. So I don't really want to. I mean, who knows? I might totally flip and do that one day because the record label's making me. They're already trying to make me do that, and because they know that works. But I'm holding my ground for now. We'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, the balance of record sales against followers and likes. Which one is more important these days? Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, exposure is everything in any, especially in the entertainment field. So, I know that I'm reaching probably 1% of the people that would like my music and like my band. And I know I haven't reached those people because I see them every day going, I've never heard of you, or I didn't know you had a new record out, blah, blah. So I know I'm not reaching my fan base the way other bands do. And that's been a subject of a big problem with the label. They're trying to figure out why is this? So, I haven't mastered that end of things. But we're trying.
Yeah, that's all you can do. You can try and you can work in it.
That's it.
Finally, last but not least, how does work on the next album go at the moment? Are things looking bright and exciting in the Lizzy Borden camp?
Yeah, I mean, as I was saying before, I'm learning so much, and technology has afforded me the ability to explore and do things that every day I'm recording something that I've never recorded before.
Oh wow!
And I'm singing and doing different things that I haven't done before lyrically. I'm a better lyricist now than I've ever been, I think, and so that stuff is flowing, and we're knee deep in the new record, and we're doing it kind of interesting this time.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, I constantly want to try and do things different. So we're doing one song at a time into its completion. Because I have the time. We have the virus. We don't know when. I had to chop my Midnight Things tour in half because we were only able to do the U.S. and a couple shows in Canada, and we did one show in Germany, and that was it. We haven't been able to do any. I had to cancel the whole tour because everyone did. So now I can't really resume that 2 years later, so I have to put out a new album. So my full focus is creating the new album and also creating the new show. So I don't want to release an album where I can't represent the show. So I have time. So we're doing one song at a time in its completion, which is pretty interesting because I get to see what else the album needs, as I go. So like, we're on our almost fourth song.
Oh, wow.
And I get to see where the album moves and what it needs, what the complement to that song is going to be, what the complement to the next song is going to be. So it helps me to write because these songs are done. I get to hear them. They're not a demo. They're not a rough version. They're finished songs. So I'm going, okay, well, I like that, but now we need this. And I like that, but now we need this. So it's very different than anything we've ever done. And I'm having more fun making this record than I ever have making any record because I like that sense of accomplishment. Usually I'm spinning plates. I'm writing 10, 15 songs at the same time, and I'm just doing a little bit on each song per day. And it's really, some of those songs, at the end get rushed. It's like, okay, well, I'm finished except for these last batch. I've just got to finish them, and then, they suffer a little bit because they didn't get the attention that I paid to the songs in the earlier phase of writing and recording. So when I get to do everything that I want to do to a song before I move on, there's a sense of accomplishment. So it makes me hungry to do the next song and write the next song.
Yeah, your positivity and excitement shines through even across seas where we currently are. It does sound like fans have something very, very interesting to look forward to.
I think so. This one is going to be different than the last one and different than the one before that. But it's got a lot of things. I always try to add elements of the past and, not repeating myself, but definitely adding flavors. And some of those flavors I'm bringing back into this effort. But it's definitely something I've never done before. And it's, so it's really interesting and it's big soundtracky kind of stuff, but it's still a song. It's still a 3.5 minute, 4 minute song. So, with all the hooks that I can write, so that's kind of in a nutshell where this thing's going. And it's, it's going to be conceptual like all the albums have been. And this concept is really interesting as well. So I'm having a great time writing lyrics as well.
Fantastic. But for now, Best of Lizzy Borden Volume 2 out now. Lizzy, thank you so much for your time.
No problems. Great talking to you. And hopefully we'll bring the next show over as soon as possible.
Oh, the UK will be dying for you to come over here.
We've been dying to play the UK for a long time, and I was really hoping to bring the Midnight Thing show over there because this show is one of the best shows we've ever done, if not the best show. And it was going over a storm everywhere we went. And so every night it was better than the next. So I was really hoping to bring it to the UK, but we'll do it on the next one.
There we go. Thank you very much for watching. You can check us out on gbhbl.com as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Tumblr. Go to Patreon to help us out over there. That's patreon.com/GBHBL as well as Big Cartel where you can find some of our merchandise. We have a podcast running on SoundCloud and Apple Podcasts. And of course, if you like this video, do us a favour, hit the subscribe button and help the channel grow. Games, horror and heavy metal. What else is life for?